Hi everyone, thank you very much for coming today. My name's Sarah, so I work at Goldsmiths, University of London, so I recognise some of you, I think I've spoken to you, which is lovely. So I'm going to talk to you a bit today about London and about studying there, and if you have any questions at all, just let me know, because I could talk forever, so if there's anything you want me to cover, do just raise your hand or just shout out, that would be great. So, has everyone visited London before? Anyone visited London? Okay, a few people. Brilliant. So when I arrived in the Ukraine on Thursday, I was asked to name kind of an interesting fact that I knew about the Ukraine, which was quite interesting. So it's a new country for me. So I was kind of interested about what you guys thought. So for people that have been to London or been to the UK, do you have any interesting facts that you know of? Anything you can think of? I'm not putting you on the spot here. No? Anything? The what, sorry? Yeah, do you know anything? Yeah, what interesting fact do you know?
It's very interesting that you guys use different kinds of taps for hot and cold water, and it's really interesting how you use it and why.
Really? Do you not do that here? You just have the one tap?
No. I have an English friend.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, I've never heard that before. That's a great fact. Well, I have a fact for you. So, does everybody recognise this building here? Anyone know the name?
Of course.
Yeah, what's the name?
Big John?
No, close.
Big Ben,
Big Ben, lovely.
the bell?
You know it. You know what I was going to ask. So, does everyone know what Big Ben actually is? Yeah? Yeah. It is. Well done. Yeah, because a lot of people think that Big Ben is the tower, when actually it's the bell inside the tower is called Big Ben. And this is the Big Ben kind of clock tower, I suppose. And at the moment, they're fixing it. So there's a lot of scaffolding around it at the moment. But yeah, you knew my fact. Brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you a lot about London. And I'm from London. I love it very much. So I'm very passionate about it. So any questions about what to do, what to see, just ask away. Okay, so what cities do you guys think were voted the best student cities last year? So I've got the three top student cities. What do you guys think? One of them's quite obvious, I think. Yes, London. Yeah. Any other ideas? Not in the UK. So these are international cities. So not the other ones aren't in the UK. No, not unfortunately. I'll tell you. Okay, so these are the three best student cities that were voted last year. So really amazing cities, and London was one of them, which is a really, really exciting thing for us, as we love it there. So it's a really good city for students and good to study in. So universities in London, so my colleague gave me this map. There are a lot of universities in London, and I read this morning that don't hold me to this, but there's 43 universities in London, which is the biggest concentration of universities in Europe. So London is a great city, but there's also some fantastic universities based in London. And where the blue dots are where all the universities are based. So you can see they're all in and around London, and lots of different variety of institutions, courses, and environments that you can study in. So the universities in London, they're not all the same. They're all very, very different. So it really depends what you're looking for and what you want to get out of your experience in London. And I've put some pictures of some of the London universities on here. I don't know if anyone recognises any of them. This is my university. This is Goldsmiths. You have Royal Holloway. Everyone thinks it looks like Harry Potter, which is really cool. UCL, King's College. That's King's College. Can't remember what that one is, but there's so many different campuses and so many different universities in London that you can see. I'm not allowed to move. Okay, so a little bit about London. It's a really big city, so we have 9 million people living in London, so it's very big, a really big part of our population there. If you're thinking about, so is everybody thinking about studying in London here? Is that a silly question? Okay, perfect. So lots of things to think about when you're thinking about studying in London. So some universities have one campus. Some universities have lots of different campuses that are split across the city. So it's good to have a look at the campus environment when you're looking at London. As I said there, so split campus or single campus. And I will talk a little bit about the University of London later. But if your university is a member of the University of London, it's a really, really good advantage for students. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about these things. So looking at academics, the culture in London, what the London community is like, cost of living, because people always ask me about that, because a lot of people think London's very expensive, and we'll look at employability as well. So I'm going to touch on those things, and if you have any questions as I'm going through, just let me know. Okay, so in terms of academics, which is really important when looking at a university, London is a fantastic hub of academic activity. We get lots of research funding in London, so it is a real advantage about studying in the city. And we attract some amazing academics from all over the world. So a lot of London campuses, very international, both with the student population as well as the academics. So you get a really, really interesting perspective across all the different subjects that you can study at university. Arts and culture. I mean, I'm in Kiev, it's beautiful. You have some amazing galleries and museums and things like that. And London is very, very similar. So much to do. And a lot of the museums and galleries are free. So if you have an interest in kind of arts and culture as a student, it's fantastic. And a lot of the things that you have to pay for, you get a student discount as well. So it's an amazing place to be as a student. And I've put at the bottom there, travel. You get 30% off travel as a student in London, which is fantastic. And a lot of courses will have internships and work placements within the course. So being in London, it's the hub of a lot of the different kind of the culture, the finance, the media sectors. So work experience opportunities tend to be very high in London. Just some lovely pictures that I've got of London just there. So you've got the very famous picture in the middle of the River Thames. And does anyone know what that famous bridge is called in the middle? So there's that middle picture. Am I allowed to point? So just in the middle. Anyone know? Yes. Oh, you guys are good, because a lot of people say London Bridge, and it's not London Bridge. That's actually Tower Bridge that you can see from London Bridge, and just some lovely sights. And Shakespeare's Globe at the top there, if you like theatre. Cost of living. Who thinks London's expensive? Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I would say London can be expensive, but there are definitely ways to make it more affordable. So I'm going to talk a little bit about cost of living. In terms of being a student, London's a great city because you have the kind of the work experience opportunities, and as a student in the UK you can work part-time. So in terms of the work experience and part-time work available, it's considered quite an affordable place to live because of the opportunities that are available while you're studying there. And I've put just a link there at the bottom for things that you can get student tips and things about living in London from Money Saving Supermarket. So I thought I'd break down the costs for you because I get asked about this all the time. So in terms of living costs, so this doesn't include tuition fees. This is just this is a suggestion of where your money might go if you are studying in London, because I get asked a lot about it. So usually about £11,000 on living costs for London, but this does vary. It depends if you like shopping, if you like eating out. It really depends on your lifestyle. So this is just a guide as to what you could possibly spend if you're studying in London. Which is just there. Thought I'd show you some pictures. So this is one of our accommodation options. So usually university accommodation is quite affordable, and it's a really good way to meet friends and meet other students. So I've just thought I'd put a picture there for you, and that's where kind of some of the cost of living goes on accommodation and things like that. Just some pictures there. Rooms differ. That's quite a small room, but you can get different sizes. Tuition fees. So this is some information about Goldsmiths because I have that information, but it does vary by different universities in London. But just as a guide, you kind of have to think about tuition fees and how you pay them. And also you can also ask about scholarships and things which could help kind of supplement your study. For across the universities in London, there are different kinds of scholarships, so do ask each university individually. And this is what the government recommends for your living costs. So I know I'm covering quite a lot on costs, but I hope it will help you kind of think about how much it might be to study in London. And again, working part-time, if you do have an interest in doing that while you're studying, you can do up to 20 hours per week. So this can help supplement your studies while you're in London. But obviously you are studying as well, so it's good to, you've got to balance your time between study and work as well. Just some lovely Goldsmiths pictures there. Okay, so I thought I'd show you some kind of, because one of the big things about studying in London is the culture and the art scene and what you can do in and around London. So I just wanted to show you some pictures. So Royal Festival Hall, beautiful, lots of plays and cultural activities go on there, and that's right by the London Eye, so great location. Singing in the Rain, anyone like the theatre? London is fantastic for theatre. So we have the West End, which is amazing. So I went to the theatre last week, saw 42nd Street. It's amazing. So do go to the theatre if you do study in London. So that's one really big reason to study. Lots of different markets and things like that. And you can buy food and things at different markets to make it a little bit cheaper for cost of living. Camden Town, very famous in North London. This is the cheapest cinema in London. So everyone says cinema is very expensive. This cinema is £5 anytime, which is very cheap for London. So that's very close to Goldsmiths, where I'm based. And lots of market stores. So employability is, I get asked quite a lot about employability and careers and finding jobs and things after you've studied in London. London's one of the top cities for employability in the UK. And because studying in London, you do have that on your doorstep. You have so many different, as I've said before, you have so many different organisations that there might be opportunities for work experience or internships. So it's right there on your doorstep and really, really great for networking as well. So depending on the industry or what kind of career you want afterwards, studying in London gives you that kind of head start, which is brilliant. So it's good to ask any courses that you're interested in. It's really good to ask the universities kind of, does it have an internship or a placement with the course? So has everybody heard of the University of London? Yeah? Did hear about it? Does anyone know what it is? Don't worry. No, it's a little bit of a confusing concept. So the University of London is kind of a federal institution, and there are 18 different universities that are part of this University of London. So each university that's within the University of London, like my university, Goldsmiths, has its own entry requirements, its own specializations. So you apply to the university directly, but for a lot of those universities, you'll get a University of London degree, which is amazing. And it also opens a lot of opportunities for collaboration. So for example, you might be able to use the library, if you go to Goldsmiths, you might be able to use the library at UCL, because we're all part of the University of London. Or in the centre of London, we have Senate House Library. So all of the University of London students can use this library. So it's a really fantastic institution that really just opens up opportunities for students while you're studying there. So do a bit of research on the University of London and the different kind of courses, the different universities that are part of this University of London. And it just means that you have so many resources on your doorstep. You can also share accommodation with other University of London students as well. And if you graduate from Goldsmiths, for example, you get a University of London degree, which is great. So there's a little bit of kind of information there about it, but yeah, third oldest university in the UK, after Oxford and Cambridge, which everybody's heard of as well. Does anyone have any questions about the University of London? Is that okay? Okay. Maybe later, yeah, no problem. Okay, so I thought I'd talk about, so you're thinking about studying in London, what kind of things do you need to look at? What should you consider when you're looking at London universities? Because there are over 40 universities within the capital. So what I thought I would do is I thought I would tell you a little bit about my university and what I would research if I was looking at universities and compare it to other universities, so you can get a little bit of an idea of the variety of different universities and courses that you can do in London. So my university is in the southeast of London. And if I was going to look at studying in London, I'd probably want to look at the cost of studying in London. So in the southeast, it's a little bit cheaper, whereas if you go to the centre of London, it might be a bit more expensive. So really good to have a think about where you are in the capital, because London is really big. So there's 6 different zones in London, so lots of different areas that you can choose from. And a lot of students might only know the centre of London, but there's some amazing places in and around the city which you should definitely have a look at. Transport, really important. Have a look at transport connections as well, because you want to be able to get to where you want to go. Also, I would have a look at the community in the area. Do you want to be in kind of a tourist area? Do you want to have a real London experience and maybe be in the local community? Have a look at what's going on in and around the area in London, because each area in London has its own atmosphere, its own vibe. It's very, very interesting when you go to different areas. So do have a look at the kind of community in the area. Obviously, the reputation of the university. So each university in London will have its own specialisation. It will have its own kind of niche area. So have a look at the subject and the reputation for that particular subject at the university. And where do you want to be? Is there any particular famous sites that you want to be? Because a lot of students ask me, how close are you to the London Eye? But you'll probably go to the London Eye one time. It depends where you want to be. So do have a look at local attractions and things like that. Have a look at the campus. So for example, when I was researching Goldsmiths, I would look at all these kind of pictures and see what the campus is like, the type of buildings, the architecture, because you kind of will get an idea if you're going to be happy there. Goldsmiths has some really cool buildings, which I really love. And we have one campus, which really appeals to some students, whereas some students don't mind having a variety of different campuses. So do have a look, is it just one campus, or are there lots of different sites all around London? Just some cool pictures. This is our cool building. So really new and really old buildings. And again, have a look at location and how far it is to get to different places in London, because this might influence your decision about where to study. So, a map of London. You can see the sites here. So we have the River Thames through the middle. Now, there's London universities kind of south and north of the river. So if you live south of the river, you say that South London is best. And if you live north of the river, everyone's like, no, North London is the best. So it depends where you want to be. So there's a little bit of a rivalry between North and South London. I'm a South London girl, so that's where I'm from. So I love it. So Goldsmiths is just down here, as you can see. But there's many universities all around this River Thames, and then even further to the west and to the east. So have a look all around London. Really big city. Just another picture of London there. So as I said before, Goldsmiths is a campus university, whereas some universities will have different campuses. So for your particular subject, so if you're studying management at a particular university, you might be in a different part of London to their main campus. So very important to look at your subject and where you'll be studying, because that can vary by different institutions. So I have some top tips for you. Oh, sorry, did you have a question?
Sorry, yeah, I have. So as I understood, you for your studying day, you can have lessons in different places of city, and so my task will be to quickly get from one lesson to another, or how it works. Yeah,
it's a good question. Usually, different departments should usually be based on one campus. So. Often you won't have to kind of dash between different campuses, but it really depends on the university and how they structure their course. But usually, if you're studying medicine at one particular university, they should have one campus that you would just have your lectures. But they should, if you do have to change campuses, they should give you enough time to do that. But it's good something to research into and see how it works.
I heard that it was very difficult for a novice to find your campus, to understand the traffic system. That in the previous lecture that they told that it was hell.
Oh, really? Where was that? In London or in a different?
Yeah, in London, to get from one place to another, and that was difficult.
Right. Oh, okay.
So I'm asking you about your university.
Well,
how it worked there?
yeah, well, I mean, my university is a bit different. So we have one campus, so everybody studies in one place. So we have different buildings, but the campus is all together. So we have kind of a campus in the middle of London. So that's usually never a problem at Goldsmiths, for example. But if you're looking at somewhere like, for example, maybe King's College has 4 or 5 campuses. So good to see where you'll be studying. And they should timetable everything so you have enough time. But obviously, you know, personal experiences might differ. But good to check with the department if that's something you're worried about. Especially if the campuses are split between different locations. But yeah, it depends on the university, I think. Hope that helps a little bit. So, top tips. Okay, so I have some top tips. This is a Mr. Man that my colleague put together, actually. So really, this is kind of related to London, but do choose kind of the course is really important. So choose the course that you're most interested in. I think that's kind of the top tip. Have a look at that first. And if you kind of think, yes, I love this, I'm really passionate about it, it's such a good sign. So do more research. Have a look on the university website because they should list all the content of the particular course. So it will tell you all the different classes that you can take and give you more information. Because sometimes you'll have a course and it will say one thing, but it might involve something different to the exact course name. So do check the course descriptions. Really, really important. Yep, start early. I've met some students that are looking a few years in advance, which is great because it gives you more time to have a look at things and ask questions if you need to. In terms of budgeting, there's a student finance calculators, lots of them online. So have a look at that, especially if you're thinking about London and looking at cost of living there. Universities in London tend to have lots of open days, virtual open days. So if you can visit, it's such a good opportunity to get a bit of an idea of the university, but also what it's like in London if you can visit, because it's a very unique place to study. I mean, in Kiev, it's very cultural, so go to lots of different lectures and seminars if you can, and that really kind of, we love to hear about that in your personal statement as well. Have you done anything outside of your course and kind of gone the extra mile to look at different topics that you're interested in? We love to see that, so do that. And in terms of learning about London, if you've never visited before, there's lots of different publications you can have a look at. So you probably heard of Time Out. That tells you a lot about all the events going on in London, so you can get an idea of the culture there. And I also look at The Londonist, which is another online magazine that you can have a look at. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the capital, what we're all about, and if you'd be happy there. So I definitely recommend having a look at those. And I think that is it from me. Does anyone have any questions that I can help with? I'll stay around at the end, so if you have any questions, I'll be here. And then my contact details are there, so if you have any questions about London, studying in London, or want to know a bit more about any of the universities, just let me know. Please feel free to email me. Social media. Great. This is our social media, but any universities you're interested in, have a look on their social media because there's loads of cool pictures, loads of we get some of our international students to post different things, so that gives you a bit of an insight into the city, into the university, so do have a look at those. Yeah, I think, have I missed something? Is there anything else that any of you worried about, kind of worried about London, or have any questions about London and studying there? Don't worry, a lot of pressure. Yeah, don't worry, of course.
Actually, I wanted to ask if there are any free events like lectures throughout London.
Yeah, so it's a really good question. There are a lot of free things happening in London, sometimes so much that you can't keep track of everything. But in terms of the university lectures, for example, at Goldsmiths, we have open lectures that happen in the evenings. And if you look on the university events calendars, you can find some more information about that and looking at kind of the lectures that are going on and any speakers. It depends what interests you, but do have a look on the university websites. And some kind of charities and cultural organisations also put on lectures and seminars as well. So it's really just finding them, depending on your interest. But yes, yeah, there's lots going on through the capital that you can go to. So yeah, no problem.
Thank you. The question one is out of the topic. Sorry. Have you seen the Queen?
Have I seen the Queen? No, I can't say I have. I'm sorry about that. No, I haven't. I've obviously seen her on TV, but I've never seen her in person, unfortunately. But I don't hang out at Buckingham Palace very much. But sometimes if you do go, you can wait and you might see the Queen, possibly.
And do you know some famous professors and students of your university?
Yes, so well, our university, my university in particular, is very well known for the creative industries. So we have some quite famous artists, like I don't know if you know Damien Hirst. He's a very big contemporary artist. He did the shark in formaldehyde, they call it, which is a very interesting installation. Steve Mcqueen, who's the director of 12 Years a Slave, if you saw that film, he went to Goldsmiths. Does anyone like fashion? Yeah, maybe. Vivienne Westwood is also a graduate from Goldsmiths. So, yeah, good to have a look at the alumni of the universities, because it's very, very interesting. But not everyone becomes famous necessarily, but they might be doing some amazing things in their field. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And again, with academics, they're usually listed on the website. So as I said before, London attracts a lot of amazing academics from all over the world. So usually on the websites, it will have their bio. So you can have a look and see where they've come from, their type of research interests. And that will give you an idea of the type of courses as well that they might have. Yeah, we have, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. There is in Goldsmiths students from Ukraine, and how much?
Yeah, good question. We this is the first time we've really come to Ukraine actually to talk to students, which has been really interesting for me because some really varied subjects as well. So we have a few students from the Ukraine, very small numbers. I can't remember exactly, but I can find out. I'll have it on my computer. But we have very small numbers, but we would really love to see more students from the Ukraine, and I think a lot of London universities would love to, because just such varies add so much to kind of the student population, have really, really interesting subject areas that they like, and yeah, so very small numbers at the moment, but I really hope it will grow. It'll be great.
What is the most difficult thing in studying in the UK universities?
That is a good question. I think, I mean, it depends actually, because students find they have different, it depends on the student and their kind of their background. But I think sometimes students find maybe the way that we study a little bit different. So it's very independent learning. So you might only have a few hours of lectures and seminars every week. So it's a lot of independent study. So you have to be very dedicated and very organized to be able to fit everything in. So I think sometimes the way that we structure the course can be a little bit different for international students. So I think sometimes that can be the biggest thing, I would say. But every student's a little bit different, I think. And even sometimes being away from home as well. So I mean, if you're coming for a year or 3 years, I think sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. But most universities have great support networks, so it's just making sure you use those, I would say. Yeah, and a lot of people tell me actually the food, but that's a myth, because the UK food is really nice. It's not so bad, but a lot of people say it's not so good. And the weather, yeah, it doesn't rain all the time. It's really nice. It's 29 degrees at the moment, so we're doing okay. No worries.
In your opinion, what are the best opportunities about studying exactly in London?
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, there's so many positive things about London. I think the experience is probably one of the biggest opportunities in London. Just there's so much going on around your studies. You can really, really enjoy the city. So get some kind of amazing opportunities to work with some great academics and great universities, but also have the social side as well, which is fantastic. You meet lots of people from all over the world. So I think that's a real advantage, I think, about London. And again, employability, I would say. You have access to so many different organizations and companies and networking events. So I think that's probably the other biggest kind of selling point of London as well, I would say.
Is it difficult to find a job for a student?
Yeah, so you mean after you finish?
No, when I'm studying.
Oh, when you're studying? Not too bad, yeah. I mean, a lot of, one really popular student job actually is to be a student ambassador. So if you're interested in, you love talking to people and kind of helping on campus community, student ambassador is a great job. And most universities will pay their student ambassadors. And it's also really flexible as well. So that's a really popular job for students. But part-time work opportunities are advertised through the careers services. So do use the careers services as well. But from a lot of students that I've spoken to, they found it not too bad getting a job, I think. But what I would recommend is get to the university, see how much work you have, and then you can see kind of managing your time, I would say. But yeah.
Are there opportunities to find some social job, like to help people, to be useful? Because for me personally, it's very important to be a useful part of society.
Yeah, so in, I mean, I know I can speak for Goldsmiths. There are a lot of volunteering opportunities. So if you're interested in working within the local community, depending what you'd like to get involved in, there's lots of different community projects. And often universities will have a students' union, and a lot of the volunteering is organised through the students' union. So yes, there's definitely opportunities to get involved in that. And it's also, it's great for your CV as well. So not only are you helping people, you're gaining skills and things like that. So volunteering is definitely a good thing to look into. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, I'll just be at the front here. Thank you.